Hi everyone, so in this video we are going to be taking a look at exception handling in Python. So what exception handling means is, let's say I try something which could give me an error. I'm going to try and avoid the error so that my code doesn't end unexpectedly. So let me just show you an example. Let's say I create a list which contains 1, 2, 3. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say print L of 3, and this let's just save this first, and this is going to give me an error because if you remember, this is index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2, so there is no index 3 in this list, so this will give me an error. Let's just try running this module. As you can see, I got an error. It says list index out of range here. So what I need to do now is, I don't want this unexpected end to my program, so I'm going to add a try here, which tells the interpreter that you should try running this. If it doesn't work, then do something else. So let's just do print L of 3 now, and here I need to add an except, and these try and except are used together. So when I say except, I need to give it what error could occur, and the error here is index error. So let's just add index error, and let's just print incorrect index, and let's just save it and try running it this time. As you can see, it printed out incorrect index, but it didn't give me an error. So that's what exception handling does. Of course, this is a very simple example. There might be other cases where you're taking user input and you're going to divide two numbers, and the user inputs the denominator as 0. So there's also a 0 division error. Let's just try doing it. Let's just do try a is equal to 3, and let's just do b is equal to 0, and let's do a by b. Actually, let's do c is equal to a by b. That makes more sense. Let's save and run it this time. So I didn't change this here. Let's say denominator is 0, and let's run it now. As you can see, it says denominator is 0, and if I change the value of b to, let's say, 1 and run it this time, it doesn't print anything because I didn't say print c or anything. I could do a print c, and if I run it again, it prints out c, which is 3. So that's another type of error. There's many other errors as well. One of them is known as the name error, which basically means if we try using a variable which we haven't used before. So let's just say I remove this line altogether, and now I try doing it. I'm going to get a name error. You can even give multiple errors here. So this just needs to be separated by a comma, and I say name error here, and let me just print error handled, and let's run this now. It says error handled, and we can also do something like this. Let's just get rid of this, and here let's just print 0 division error, and let's add another except here, and this time I'm going to catch the name error, and I'll print name error here. So in case we encounter this error right here, it's going to print this, and if we get this error, it will print this. let's just run it this time, and as you can see it says name error because it doesn't know what this b is. If I do b is equal to 0 and I run it now, this time it says 0 division error because that's what it encountered. So you can add as many excepts with a single try as you want. And there's another one, there's another thing that can be used, which is the finally block. It's often used along with these try and excepts. Here let me just do a print and I'll write this is the finally block, and let's run it now. As you can see it says 0 division error and it says this is the finally block. Let's just do a different error, and again it says name error and it says this is the finally block, and I can even do something like b is equal to 1, and if I run it this time it says 3 and then this is the finally block. So from here you know that the finally block executes irrespective of whether the try block was executed or the except one of the excepts was executed. This finally part will always be executed, and it's useful because let's say we open some file and we tried doing something with that file. Let's say we try writing something into that file, but that file is a read-only one, we can't write anything into it. The finally block is useful to close that file because otherwise the file will remain open because we opened it in the try block and then we entered the except block. So things like closing a file are typically done in the finally block so that it's executed no matter what happens. So that's it about error handling in Python. Next time I think we'll start with something known as object-oriented programming, which is slightly different from what we have seen up till now. So stay tuned for it.